Hey guys, today we're building another Assassin's Creed creation. We have Edward Kenway from Black Flag.
ClayClaim.
Oh yeah, it's been a while since we made the last Assassin's Creed video and creation, and this time we are creating Edward Kenway from Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag main series, and I haven't played the game. But I still enjoyed the gameplay so much that this character was in very good memory, and he also gives a lot of crazy details. We are building today with clay, and many of you have been asking for something different than Among Us. I'm sorry for those of you who wanted to see some different content. Next week will be the big final, the map, part 5 from my Skeld map. But for this week we have this guy, Edward Kenway, and we start with the aluminum wire. I also wanted to mention that this video is another collaboration with the GTV, which means there is also a German version from this video where I am doing the German voiceover. Go check it out! And now let's start with some ochre, which we will coat around the aluminum wire. This is our skeleton from Edward Kenway. And when building such a detailed creation, I tried to figure out all the different layers of colors, which we are having. This is one of the new tools, by the way. It's still not finished, and the sculpting tool. And I tried to figure out which layer is underneath all the other ones. In this case, when you look at the image from Edward Kenway, you see that he is wearing some very he's wearing some ochre trousers, so this is some old garment, and then all the other colors come on top, like these different tones of brown. I try to imitate leather, and by mixing two different colors of brown together, you get this beautiful texture in the color, that it isn't too clean. And yeah, looks quite interesting, and it's perfect for our boots, the pirate boots of Edward Kenway. I now try to get the boots into shape by using the scalpel, and sometimes it happens that I cut away too much, but don't worry, just stick over some further clay and sooner or later the boots will look perfect. On the upper part of the boots we have this leather stripe, which is also quite bright, and I mixed some ochre into the brown as well. And now let's wrap it around, let's see how it looks. It looks quite nice so far, but it is still a long way to go. We also start with the upper part of the body by using ochre. There is a shirt underneath the armor he's wearing, and you can see some beautiful dents and folds and the fabric. And this is what I just did with the new sculpting tool. Now let's take some pearl black together with brown to get this very dark color. Maybe we can also throw in some ochre and bright brown for the arm protections. And this is silver clay, it's effect color, which means it's, well, basically the same like the other clay, but it is a little bit more shiny after often hardening, which is quite nice. Now this is a very beautiful dark gray silver we just created for all the shoulder patches and protections. And maybe we can also add some screws or rivets to these parts of his armor. And while we are finishing this part, I thought it would be nice to share some stuff from Reddit like we have done in the last video. This one is from Quicksilver. He made some very tiny creations from the Mandalorian, and I think these are quite amazing, especially when you work on such a small detail. Yeah, this will be the part of the shirt which can be seen right at the wrist, which is sticking out just a little bit. I'm using the sculpting tool to get in some more dents and wrinkles. And the clay I am mixing right now will be the skin tone. I thought it should be a little bit more red than the regular bright flesh tone. And probably because he has no sunscreen, no sun blocker on his skin, and gets a little bit red from the brutal sun when he is out on the seas. And this is why I threw in some red as well. These are the fingers of his left hand. Well, the pinky makes always some problems. And also the other hand. It looks complicated, but it isn't. Give it a try, give it a shot to create this technique on hands. Well, it's not 100% accurate, but I just love the style of the hands. Now there is another layer around his arm protection, and I use the cup that he doesn't fall over. Okay, working on the hand expressions, because these will be quite important. We will give him some swords. Well, actually these are more sabers, pirate sabers, which we will give him into his hands. I was thinking a long time about this, if I should give him the sabers or the pistols or both. I ended up using the sabers because I really liked how he is sticking them to the sides. Now let's take some gray clay for the next layer of fabric, and then we can work on the neck and also the head. But before, let's have a look at Reddit again. This one is from It's Me Alexa, and he created these amazing Super Mario and Link with not often hardening clay. So I can only guess how difficult this must have been. And you know I am struggling with this! With faces, with the human faces. Well, this time I tried to use my new technique. Maybe I can describe this in more detail in a further video, but mainly it is not to work too much on the details, but to almost close your eyes so that you can only notice light and shadow and focus on the proportions of the face instead of working on all the crazy details and screwing up with the face. So this helped me a lot, and we're ready to go into the oven. Freshly baked Edward Kenway! Oh yeah, and his skin got so red in the oven. Okay, I'm just kidding. Now let's take the scissors and some grey clay. It's a very thin layer. And we are working on his skirt, which is moving in the wind. When he is sailing, there is a very rough wind out on the sea. And I wanted to give this fabric this beautiful effect. This will be the next layer, also with a very thin layer of clay. And the beautiful and amazing thing about this type of clay, about Fimo, you can get it in our online store on ClayClaim.com, or basically everywhere, I hope so. The amazing thing is that it almost keeps the position you put it in. You can put it into the oven, and after oven hardening it looks like a statue. It looks amazing. With some brighter clay, this is white, we work on the collar, and then I try to make him a little bit slimmer, and we take some further white clay for his hood. No, not yet. But this is somehow leading into the hood. At first, when I looked at Edward Kenway, I had no idea where to start with all these different layers. And I said this before, but it is that important. When you have no idea where to start, just look at the very first layer. Try to figure out which clay color could go underneath, like I have done with ochre, and then build your way up. Start adding more and more layers, and it will look more and more complicated. This is the first belt. There will be some further belts in this creation. Okay, perfect. Yeah, there are these stripes on the front of his chest. And this is underneath the second belt. But let's first finish all the details underneath, because after that it's difficult. This is the belt buckle made with silver clay. And this is one of the colors which I open, and then it lasts for a month, because normally I only take a little bit of silver for all these tiny beautiful details made out of metal. This is the red stripe around his hips. It's the cherry red we are using this time. And there it is, the characteristic color scheme for the Assassin's Creed characters. We talked about that in some earlier videos about Assassin's Creed characters. I think it was when I created Ezio on top of the cathedral. There's also some part of this red scarf blowing in the wind, moving in the wind. And this is a beautiful, beautiful detail. We have a skull made out of silver on the belt, which is going diagonal. And then we can finally work on the weapons. And we start with a pistol. With this old one. I honestly thought this is a dummy. And then someone wrote under the video over on GTV, "Hey dude, you know, this is a real weapon. It's not a dummy. It's really old." I have no idea. I have to ask Steph. He brought this to the studio one day. Maybe one of his ancestors is a real pirate. Who knows? And these are the pistols. We use some brown, bright brown and ochre to get this beautiful pattern, which looks somehow woody. And then we have these silver and golden details. I gave my best to create two very similar pistols, that they look like exactly the same. And now we can place them on the belt, which is going diagonal. Oh, so beautiful. Look at that. Now the sabers, which are very sharp. After often hardening, I'll use a silver pen to define which area will be the blade. But creating with clay, well, I think this is a little bit too thin then, and could easily break. This is a beautiful detail, a leaf coming from the handle of the saber on both sides. And this is another detail on the handle. And I would love to feature another creation from you guys. This is from Yat, for all Super Mario fans. I love the card. But also Luigi from Luigi's Mansion. And we're ready to go into the oven. No, not yet. Well, this is a reminder. If you want to create some memes, share some art you created, go over to Reddit. We have the subreddit ClayClaim, and I would really love to welcome you there. Yeah, and from time to time I'm featuring some of the content here on the channel as well, which you have come up with, and I'm really amazed with what you have come up with so far. The memes, your creations. I just really love this community, and it's a pleasure to create videos for you guys. Now that we finished our Edward Kenway, we are working on the stand for today's creation. And instead of creating a whole diorama, I thought it would be nice to create a part of Edward Captain Kenway's ship. And this is it. We will create the black flag, of course. But let's first work on the mast with this typical metal look, and we put this aside. This is our freshly baked Edward Kenway. And now with some beautiful pens, the silver one, we can add some beautiful highlights to this handle, for example, from the sabers with a leaf, and also the blade itself. I told you I wanted to use this, and maybe there's some lovely blood onto this as well. Now let's use the super glue and stick it to the handle. It's still a little bit moving, but I think this should be fine. Oh, amazing. Now we are adding him a beard and the iris, of course, adding some transparent polish to make the weapons and also the leather boots a little bit shiny. And now we can remove him from the plate because we have a better stand for him. Oops, okay, that broke. Yeah, we'll glue this together. Just take the super glue. Okay, looks perfect. For me, this has to be a part of a ship diorama. The cord. Make a tiny knot to the mast. And the other two parts we can glue down to the wooden planks. Okay, also the other side. Oops, come on. And all we have to do is to create the pirate flag. I had a Lego ship when I was a child, a pirate ship, and it also had these black flags printed on the white tile. I'm not sure if you remember. And this is somehow the perfect pirate flag. And this one from Edward Kenway from the Assassin's Creed series looks somehow similar. Well, there are no bones under the skull, but the symbol from Assassin's Creed. Now we can glue it to the mast. Whoops, that guy drank too much on the ship. We should glue him on board and welcome him there as well. Maybe some further shiny details. What about the screws on the ship, on board? It looks so beautiful. I really enjoyed this creation. And guys, I guess that's it! Edward Kenway from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I hope you enjoyed this creation with Edward Kenway from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Which character from which game would you like to see next? Maybe also a very detailed creation. Let me know, write it down in the comments. Guys, I guess that's it for today. Have a great, amazing weekend. Stay safe, stay creative, and bye.